when we think about IP, which is something we talk about a lot at Aavegotchi, and intellectual property and who owns what, NFTs are great because they prove your ownership. But beyond that, there's kind of two schools of thought. There's like the open source, and then there's like, no, it proves I own it, so that's great. Like it secures traditional IP in a great way. And it's kind of related to what we're seeing today with projects that might have relied too much on kind of uh, things like Minecraft. They're relying and tying themselves to uh, kind of what they want to be a symbiotic relationship.
Hmm.
But if the people at Minecraft or wherever Mojo, if they don't like it, eventually it's going to come back to bite you. And so you want a strong foundation with any project, right? And so one of the parts you have to look at, yeah, you have to look at the dev team. Is it doing anything interesting with smart contracts? Are we going somewhere new with this? But also, are we tying ourselves to a weak foundation where we actually are, at the whim of somebody who has never expressed interest overtly? So I don't think Minecraft invited the NFT worlds and everyone to come plug into their system. And so it's really sad when we see what happens and they finally come around to, kind of declaring they're going to ban it, right? So it undermines the original value prop so much, and it's kind of avoidable if you are a founder looking to do something completely original. You don't have to rely on any of that. You get a whole set of other challenges,
Yeah.
but you yeah. But it's always been my belief that the strongest IP, when we look back like 10 years from now, anytime a new technology comes out, there's the IP that existed before that technology, whether it's like DVDs, like a new medium, and that new medium becomes the dominant force. And you'll see Mickey Mouse and Disney move into a new space, or whether it's video games or whatever. But it's actually the IP or the characters and the ideas that come native to that new medium that have the greatest success. So yeah, you'll have your movie knockoffs and all those clones, but at the end of the day, like when Nintendo came out, it wasn't the Mickey Mouse game that dominated. It was this new guy named Mario, right?
Hmm.
And so it just makes sense that the IP kind of reflects, isn't informed by the new technology. And so, you know, I feel bad for what's happening over there. And I think it just further makes the case that another thing you have to analyze when you're looking at NFTs to collect or be involved in any way, you put your time and energy into. One more thing to look at, and the risk factor is who owns and what's going on the IP side, because this stuff is devastating if you have it's out of their control, right?
Well, well, well. To your point, though, it's not out of their control completely because they're choosing to actually go into those platforms in the first place. It seems like you guys took the harder road, right? You're building a platform from scratch. You're building that IP from scratch. You don't have that already built infrastructure, but then we see that kind of coming back and biting a lot of these projects, NFT worlds being probably the biggest, biting them in the butt now. And
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
so what's the way forward for a project that has this happen? Like what is the NFT world team having discussions behind the scene about? Is there a possibility to move to a project like Aavegotchi and say, hey, we're going to move to these other platforms that already, allow us to build openly, and bring IP into Aavegotchi, bring it into Sandbox maybe? What do you think the way forward is for a project
Yeah.
like those?
Well, I can't speak too much because I'm not super close to I don't
Yeah.
very little about their team. But assuming that, there would be a possibility here if I was in their position to probably look at some sort of pivot. You're going to have to pivot somehow. So what that pivot is probably a conversation with expectations informed from your community, your roadmap. What does it look like when you pull the rug out, the Minecraft rug, and then you have to kind of you should have some sort of technology in place. If they're building their own infrastructure, then they can maybe pivot pretty easily and create. It's an opportunity to create their own vision and their own IP. They already have some advantages, right? There is a large amount of energy in that group and in that community, and so there's an opportunity there for sure.